Today we're going to find out if the sub $2,000 Yamaha V-Star 1100 that we bought is any good, talking to our mechanic buddy, Andy. Now Andy, you've had the chance to go through this bike a little bit, see what kind of condition it's in and what parts it needs. And first things first, how do you think Roman did on the purchase of this bike? Is it a good one or a bad one? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
Way thumbs up.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's good. Mileage, balance of the bike, what's worn out, what's not. Very typical of a cruiser of this year and era. But no, it's really in pretty darn good shape for the miles and everything that's on it.
Now, it definitely has had some deferred maintenance. One of the things that I noticed in riding it, and that you noticed as soon as you got it up on your lift, is one of the things that I was kind of expecting based on the way that it handled when I first rode it. The tire pressures were not where you want them.
Yeah, as Case knows with me, especially as a mechanic, even working in dealerships for 10 years that I did, that's 90% of the problem on most of the motorcycles that came into our shop. Way underinflated tires, and it doesn't matter. Cruiser, sport bike, any bike, dirt bike, people just don't check them.
And these tires were sitting around 10 PSI or less?
Less than 10 PSI. I think it was like 6 PSI in the front and 8 PSI in the rear.
Yeah, so we were aired down beyond where we even aired down to when we were going off-road.
Yeah.
Because most of our off-roaders don't have bead locks. So these tires were pretty bare, and like you said, you can even tell just a little bit based on
how wide your patch is there.
Yeah, the amount of dirt that's on the tire. It was getting flattened out a little bit more than it should.
Yeah, and also too, it will give you the same feeling of the bike's not running good. You know, and we always have to warn people that we adjusted the tire pressures to where they should be. These are still in the same position. 33 PSI, 36 PSI, that would be front and rear respectively. It's very simple to do. The tag is right here on the swing arm. Obviously when the saddlebags are on, you probably can't see it as well. That gives you all your pressures for load, and at 195 pounds, I think it is, single rider, the tire pressures are the same regardless. Even if you do max load on it, it's still going to be those numbers. But it really, safety-wise, it really wakes the bike up. It really is a situation where when we're done doing a service on a customer bike, we really make sure that either the service writer or the mechanic lets them know how underinflated their tires were
Yeah.
and how much different the bike will handle.
Yeah, and I definitely noticed it. Even just some slow corners, it felt pretty sketchy on the bike.
Yes.
Because of that.
Yep.
So I'm not surprised to hear that when we picked it up from the auction and took it on a brief ride just to see if it rode okay at all, that was the case.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that you noticed in looking around is that this rear tire has been replaced circa 2014, so it's getting pretty old. But the front tire actually date coded
is original.
Being original to the bike. So both of these tires realistically are going to need replaced.
This would be considered to me, especially in the condition it is in, as low a PSI that was in this thing, you can tell that it is truly a Fred Flintstone.
Yeah, just rock hard hockey puck tire.
Yes, it is. It's black and round. That's about it.
Yeah, and still, it's getting a little down there in tread, and I can see it. It's probably hard to see on camera, but I can see with my eye, looking at it up close, that there is a little bit of dry rot.
Yes.
In this tire.
And you don't want that.
It's clearly very old.
Now also, Case, just while we're here on the front wheel, front brakes were hardly used. Those are original pads that are in it. This guy was a rear brake rider only. Rear pads are gone. They're down to very nothing. They haven't hit rivets or anything, but those need to be replaced.
Yeah. So far we have tires and the rear brake pad that we definitely want to do. The other thing that you noticed, and that is a good observation, is that obviously the exhaust setup on this is not as it was when it left the factory. This bike is pretty loud.
Yep.
And it doesn't seem like the carbs have been rejetted since this pipe was done. So we're going to want to mess with the tuning a little bit. It actually seems like this bike is running lean. So,
it is, and here's some more telltale signs that you can actually tune these carbs a little bit different because of the V configuration of this motor. This cylinder generally runs a little hotter. By the exhaust, you can tell. It's colored here and it's lightly colored here. So back cylinders run even leaner than the front cylinder. We can even that up, and even with a detail, make these pipes look really nice again. These pipes are baffled. They're not straight pipes. So they are shrunk down to about a 1-inch hole. Short baffle, about 8 inches long in each pipe. And that's good too. A certain amount of back pressure will make this thing run really good.
Yeah, still, and quite a bit of noise it makes.
And, yeah, oh yeah.
It'll sound like a really decent bike when it's actually running correctly.
Yes.
Now, we want to try and keep this a budget motorcycle. We don't want to go over the top spending a bunch of money on it, because the whole point is to have ourselves a cheap cruiser bike. So what we're going to try initially is Andy has a special set of drill bits that he can use to go through and increase the size of the jets in the carb without us having to get an entire jet kit. And also,
a little bit of race tuning on it. That's all that is. That's kind of been around for a while. It's also to do an inspection of the bottom of the carbs to see where everything's at. See if there's anything green in there. Because of the mileage, low mileage that's on this bike for the year, it's had its fair share of sitting. So with that being said, you can always think that even those jets, just to clear them up, give them a fresh edge on them, is a lot to do to make this thing run actually probably really good. Yeah,
so it's very possible that the jets are definitely clogged up.
Yeah,
that would not be a surprise.
It's like your veins. If you're eating hamburgers all day, they're going to get clogged up.
And doing no exercise.
And doing no exercise. That's it, bud.
Yeah.
That's it. So, that's really how I'm going to approach this, because it is running, it is idling. It's doing a little popping, but that, again, is just a lean situation. We have a K&N filter, aftermarket exhaust, so it's already wanting to breathe better, but if nothing is done to curtail that change, then it's going to run a little rough. But I think this thing will have some real serious grunt and giggle factor when I'm done.
Yeah.
And trying to keep it simple, because there's just not much to do. Battery is a little bit soft. I did check voltage on it and load. So that would be a consideration as well. Oil change. There's no chain. Gear oil, I already checked the gear oil. The level's perfect. Again, I would only change that just because I'm quite sure that's stock that's in there.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
It looks really good, though. It's still clean. So, just those type of things. Safety check. Everything did work on this thing. Turn signals, high beam, low beams, horn.
And we'll still have to test out our little speakers up here by the windshield.
It's funny too, because I look at those and I hear this exhaust, and it's like, I don't care how loud you turn it up, I don't know.
You don't
how
think
you're
we're going to hear it? That's fair. Well, we got to test it out and find out.
For sure.
But another thing I want to talk about, address, and mention, because there were a lot of comments about it in our last video with this bike, is people said, bad fuel, you need to drain the fuel, check the fuel, you guys are idiots. Heard, understood. We put some fresh fuel in it just to be able to get it over here to Andy's, and that initial video wasn't, here's our bike that we bought and it's fully restored now, look how awesome it is. The first video was just, can this run well enough for me to get it over here to Andy so that we can actually go through it and do everything
and that's
that it
not
needs.
a bad idea to put some fresh fuel in it. But if you pan right down to here, Case, this is why this is here. I'm actually going to completely drain the carb. This is a beautiful and nice and clean gas can. I want to inspect the fuel that's coming out and then see how everything looks. It's also a trick for mechanics. You know, we appreciate a full tank of fuel coming in, but to remove that tank that's full, and you tag anything with it, you're going to dent it. So we always, as a practice, emptied them out, made them really nice and light, put them on a bench, covered them with a towel, and walked away so we could do our work. And that's basically a full flush on the tank that we're going to do. See if there's any debris, see if there's any rust. It didn't look like it so far. Everything still looked great. But yes, old fuel is a problem.
Oh, 100%, yeah. And our initial ride was just to see that it rides and to get it here so that we can now go through it, fix everything that needs fixing. But what I'm excited to hear is that it really sounds like there's nothing dramatic that it needs. It sounds like this is going to make for a really good bike once some of that deferred maintenance is addressed.
As I said, Case, I would daily this bike in a New York minute. I'd love to set it up. We kind of talked before we put the camera on things that we would do to this bike. And it is a very cool motorcycle. That's a big V-twin motor that's in there.
And you said in your experience, these are pretty solid engines.
Yes, I've had nothing but happy customers with these bikes anyway, from what I see, and that's how I kind of judge things. But it's also Yamaha. Yamaha makes great motorcycles. So this one is really showing what it's about. It's got a lot of life and fun left in it. So I think that's kind of the cool part about what you did just to make this run so you could get it to the shop, get it here. Like I said, the bike was idling and it was going down the street, just not doing that very well. Again, tire pressures are always going to make the thing struggle, and that's not where you want to be either. So with everything all dialed in and balanced and fresh, this bike is good. And even here in Colorado, to go on up, scrape some floorboards. See this little piece right here? These are replaceable, and you can lean right to those and even fold them up a little bit before you get too crazy. But it's a lot of fun to do. Also, a great skills bike for any rider to go into a parking lot and do figure eights and short circles and tight circles, large circles. Any of that kind of stuff is always really a great pre-ride to a good ride for the day.
Yeah, because especially you watch motorcycle cops on big bikes and their skills at low speeds in parking lots, their ability to lean these big bikes over on a dime and keep control over them is really impressive. So to your point,
the cool thing about that, if they're really good at going slow, that means they're really good at going fast.
Yeah. Also want to say a quick thanks to Scott and the team over at Rider Justice. We've been working with them pretty much since we started this channel because they're really easy to work with. And if you ever need legal representation on 2 wheels or even on 4, make sure you call Scott first.
It'll be fun, Case. Again, it'll show you what an almost 20-year-old motorcycle can still do.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing about this whole build, especially for the money. I think that was a very fair deal for the condition of this bike.
So that's our quick check-in on this motorcycle. If you were wondering what's going on with our cheap V-Star, we're going to get some of that work done, get it back on the road, and then give this bike a proper shakedown test. We'll have to get you on this as well.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be a part of getting it tuned up.
Yeah, no, I look forward to it because I've ridden these, and when they run good, they run hard.
Yeah, well, very cool. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Let us know in the comments what you want to see us do with this motorcycle once it's back on the road. That's all for this video. We'll catch you next time.